Blood drips from his forehead. The demon paint is smeared across his chest. 38 years old, and Fergal Devitt stands in the center of the ring, staring at the championship he'll never hold again. This is the story of wrestling's most tragic what-if, the story of a man who conquered the world but could never quite reach the throne he was destined to sit upon. This is the story of the prince who never became king. You're watching SLAMZONE, and before we dive into one of the most heartbreaking journeys in professional wrestling history, I need you to do something for me. If you've ever felt like you were so close to your dreams that you could taste them, if you've ever had everything in your grasp only to watch it slip through your fingers, then this story is going to hit you right in the soul. And if you want to be part of a community that celebrates the beautiful tragedy of wrestling, that understands the humanity behind the superstars, then hit that subscribe button right now. Because what we're about to witness together isn't just about wins and losses. It's about what happens when destiny gets rewritten, and you're forced to watch from the outside looking in. July 2016. Brooklyn, New York. SummerSlam. The entire wrestling world is watching as Fergal Devitt, now known as Finn Balor, makes his entrance. But this isn't just Finn Balor walking down that ramp. No, this is the demon. The paint covers his body in crimson and black, his eyes burning with an intensity that makes grown men uncomfortable. The crowd is absolutely electric. You can feel the energy radiating through the screen even now, years later. This is it. This is the moment. The newcomer from NXT, the man who built an empire in Japan, who revolutionized what it meant to be a wrestling superstar in the modern era, is about to become the first ever WWE Universal Champion. Not in a year. Not after paying his dues. Right now. Tonight. On the second biggest show of the year. Seth Rollins stands across the ring, the architect, the man who betrayed his brothers to climb the mountain. And these two warriors are about to go to war for a title that doesn't even exist yet. The bell rings, and immediately you can see it, the contrast in styles, the clash of philosophies. Rollins with his hybrid technical prowess, Balor with that hard-hitting striking game honed over 15 years in Japan and Europe. They lock up, and the crowd is split down the middle, dueling chants echoing through the Barclays Center. This is wrestling at its finest. This is what we live for. Balor fires off a shotgun dropkick, and Rollins crashes into the corner like he's been hit by a freight train. You can see the impact, you can almost feel it through the screen. The demon is in control, and every move tells a story. Every strike carries the weight of a man who has waited his entire career for this moment. 15 years grinding in dingy halls in Ireland. 7 years in Japan becoming a legend. Building New Japan Pro Wrestling's most dominant faction, the Bullet Club. And now, on the biggest stage in the world, he's minutes away from validating every sacrifice, every drop of blood, every night away from home. But wrestling, beautiful and cruel as it is, has other plans. 6 minutes into the match, Rollins sends Balor into the barricade. It's a routine spot, something both men have done 1,000 times. But the angle is wrong. The impact is wrong. Balor's shoulder collides with the barricade, and something tears. You can see it in his eyes, that flash of pain, that moment where he knows something isn't right. But he's Fergal Devitt. He's the demon. He's not stopping. Not tonight. Not when the crown is within reach. They continue. Rollins doesn't know. The referee doesn't know. But Balor knows. Every time he lifts his arm, every time he throws a strike, the pain shoots through his shoulder like electricity. His labrum is torn. The muscle is damaged. But he keeps going because this is what warriors do. This is what princes do when the throne is waiting. The crowd is on their feet, completely unaware that they're watching a man competing on one arm, that they're witnessing something both incredible and tragic unfolding in real time. 12 minutes in, and Balor hits the coup de grace. His signature double stomp from the top rope, crashing down on Rollins like divine judgment. The crowd explodes. The referee counts. 1, 2, 3. The bell rings, and Fergal Devitt has done it. He is the WWE Universal Champion. He's reached the summit. The demon stands tall, holding the title above his head with his good arm, and 20,000 people are losing their minds. This is where legends are made. This is the coronation. The prince has become king, but the crown is made of thorns. 24 hours later, Fergal Devitt is in a hospital getting surgery. The injury is severe. 6 months minimum recovery time. And in an instant, the dream dies. He has to relinquish the championship he held for less than a day. The title he won't get back for 8 years. Think about that. 8 years. Some careers don't last 8 years. Balor has to watch as the wrestling world moves on without him, as other men hold the title he was supposed to make legendary, as the opportunity of a lifetime becomes the what-if that haunts him forever. And if you're feeling that pain right now, if you're connecting with this story, do me a favor and hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear about perseverance, about coming back from devastation. Because Fergal's story doesn't end in that hospital bed. It gets worse before it gets better, and you need to see how this unfolds. When Balor returns in 2017, he's different. The injury changed him. the loss of the title changed him. He becomes just another guy on the roster, floating between meaningless feuds, winning matches but going nowhere. The demon appears less and less, like Fergal is afraid to summon that part of himself because the last time he did, it cost him everything. He watches as Roman Reigns gets coronated as the top guy. He watches as Brock Lesnar holds the Universal Championship hostage for 504 days. He watches as Seth Rollins, the man he beat at SummerSlam, becomes a Grand Slam champion and the face of Monday Night Raw. And Fergal keeps working, keeps showing up, keeps putting on great matches that people forget about a week later. He wins the Intercontinental Championship, and it feels like a consolation prize. He feuds with Bobby Lashley, with Baron Corbin, with Bray Wyatt, and none of it matters because he's the former Universal Champion who held the title for one day and then faded into the background. The prince who was supposed to rule has been reduced to a court jester, entertaining the masses while other men wear the crown. In 2019, he gets another shot. The Royal Rumble. Baylor faces Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, and for one beautiful moment, it looks like redemption might be possible. The crowd is behind him. He hits Lesnar with everything he has. The demon returns, and maybe, just maybe, the story can have a happy ending. But Lesnar destroys him in 8 minutes. 8 minutes of hope crushed under the weight of reality. Fergal stares at the lights, and you can see it in his eyes, the realization that lightning doesn't strike twice, that some opportunities only come once, and he's already had his. The years blur together. 2020, 2021. Fergal goes to NXT, back to the brand he helped build, and for a while, it feels right. He becomes NXT champion, the title he held longer and more successfully than any other in WWE. He has classic matches with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Karrion Kross. He reminds everyone why he's one of the best in-ring performers on the planet. But there's a melancholy to it, isn't there? Going back to NXT as a main roster guy is an admission of defeat. It's accepting that you're not in the main event picture anymore, that you're helping build the next generation instead of being the face of this one. 2024, Fergal Devitt is 38 years old, and he finally gets another shot at the Universal Championship, now the World Heavyweight Championship. He faces Damian Priest at SummerSlam, 8 years after that fateful night in Brooklyn. The symmetry is poetic. The storytelling is beautiful. This is his redemption arc. This is where the prince finally reclaims his throne. The match is incredible. Back and forth action, near falls that make your heart stop, the crowd completely invested in seeing Baylor get his moment. He hits the coup de grace, the same move that won him the title 8 years ago, and you can feel it, the entire wrestling world holding its breath. But Priest kicks out. Rhea Ripley gets involved. Dominic Mysterio interferes. And in the chaos, Baylor loses. Again. The prince falls short. Again. The throne remains empty. Again. And you watch Fergal Devitt leave the ring, and the weight of his career is written on his face. The realization that he might never be WWE champion again, that the one day in 2016 might be all he ever gets. This is why wrestling breaks your heart. Because Fergal Devitt did everything right. He became the best wrestler in Ireland, then the best in Europe, then helped revolutionize wrestling in Japan. He created the Bullet Club, one of the most influential factions in modern wrestling history. He signed with WWE and immediately became the inaugural Universal Champion. He's had classic matches with everyone from AJ Styles to Roman Reigns. He's respected by everyone in the locker room, beloved by fans around the world. And yet, through a combination of bad luck, bad timing, and bad injuries, he never got his moment. Never got his reign. Never got to be the king he was destined to become. And before we get to how this story might still have chapters left to write, I need you to do something. If you've made it this far, if you're invested in Fergal's journey, then subscribe to SLAMZONE right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the stories that make wrestling the most emotionally compelling art form in the world. Drop a comment and tell me what you think about Fergal's career, whether you believe he'll ever get that one more shot, that one more moment. Because this community we're building, it's about more than just wrestling. It's about understanding the human stories behind the characters, the dreams behind the drama. The question that haunts every Baylor fan is simple and devastating: what if? What if the injury never happened? What if Fergal got to have a proper Universal Championship reign in 2016? Does WWE build around him the way they built around Roman Reigns? Does he become the face of Raw for years? Does the entire trajectory of WWE from 2016 to 2024 change because the right man held the title at the right time? We'll never know. And that's what makes this story tragic. Not that Fergal failed, but that he succeeded and had it ripped away through no fault of his own. But here's the thing about princes in stories. Sometimes they don't become kings. Sometimes their legacy is about what they inspired in others, what they proved was possible, how they changed the world even without wearing the crown. Fergal Devitt proved that you don't need to be 6'5" and 260 pounds to main event WWE. He proved that independent wrestling experience in Japanese strong style could thrive in WWE. He created a blueprint that AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, and countless others would follow. The Bullet Club became a global phenomenon that influenced wrestling on every continent. And even though he never got his proper reign, even though he never became the king, his influence on modern wrestling is undeniable. At 38 years old, Fergal Devitt is still going, still putting on incredible matches, still inspiring the next generation. And maybe there's one more chapter in this story. Maybe at WrestleMania 42 or Royal Rumble 2026, the stars align. Maybe the Demon returns one more time, and finally, after all these years, after all the heartbreak, after all the what-ifs, Fergal Devitt gets his moment. The crowd chants his name, the championship is raised, and the prince who never became king finally gets the coronation he deserved 8 years ago. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe his story is complete exactly as it is. A reminder that greatness isn't just about championships and accolades, but about how you inspire others, how you persevere through devastation, how you keep showing up even when the throne remains out of reach. Either way, Fergal Devitt's legacy is secure. He may be the prince who never became king, but he's royalty nonetheless. This is SLAMZONE, and this has been the story of Fergal Devitt. If this moved you, if this made you see wrestling differently, then smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and join this family. We break down the stories that matter every single week, and I promise you, we're just getting started. Drop a comment and let me know what other wrestling stories you want me to tell, what other careers you want me to break down. Because wrestling is beautiful, wrestling is tragic, and together, we're going to celebrate every moment of it. The prince who never became king. Remember the name, remember the journey, and never forget that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that don't have a happy ending.